Whoa, hit the brakes. You've arrived at the #1 drive-by for American history. Welcome to The Pit Stop. Brought to you by In the Past Lane, the podcast about history and why it matters. Here's Edward T. O'Donnell, your host and historian at large.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to The Pit Stop, your Monday morning source for history on the go in just about 5 minutes. We offer this mini feature every Monday, in addition to our regular full feature episodes. Here's what happened in American history the week of May 28th, 2018. Let's start with birthdays. May 29th is the birthday of Patrick Henry, who was born May 29th, 1736 in Brookneal, Virginia. Patrick Henry once said, "I know not what course others may take, but as for me, give me liberty or give me death." May 29th is also the birthday of John Fitzgerald Kennedy, who was born in 1917 in Brookline, Massachusetts. JFK said, "The problems of the world cannot possibly be solved by skeptics or cynics whose horizons are limited by the obvious realities. We need men who can dream of things that never were and ask, why not?" JFK also said, "If a free society cannot help the many who are poor, it cannot save the few who are rich." This week we have the birthdays of 3 famous poets. May 30th, Count T. Cullen was born in New York City, famous poet of the Harlem Renaissance. On May 31st, that's the birthday of perhaps the greatest American poet, certainly in my humble opinion, Walt Whitman, was born in West Hills, New York. And June 3rd is the birthday of the famous beat poet Allen Ginsberg, who was born in Newark, New Jersey. June 1st is the birthday of Marilyn Monroe, born June 1st, 1926 in Los Angeles, California. Marilyn Monroe once said, "I am trying to find myself. Sometimes that's not easy." This week also features birthdays of 2 First Ladies, both born on June 2nd. On June 2nd, 1731, Martha Washington was born. And on June 2nd, 1861, Helen Taft was born. And finally, June 3rd, 1808 is the birthday of Jefferson Davis, who was born in Fairview, Kentucky. Jefferson Davis had a long and impressive political career before the Civil War, but it was during the Civil War that he was elected President of the Confederate States of America. Jefferson Davis once said, "African slavery as it exists in the United States is a moral, a social, and a political blessing." All right, what about events and anniversaries this week? Well, May 28th, 1957, that's the date the National League allowed the Brooklyn Dodgers owner, Walter O'Malley, to move the team from Brooklyn to Los Angeles. The great writer, Pete Hamill, who was born in Brooklyn, once said, "The 3 most evil men of the 20th century were Hitler, Stalin, and Walter O'Malley." And I think he was only slightly exaggerating. May 30th, 1868, that's the birth of Memorial Day, although this original incarnation was called Decoration Day. It started with a proclamation by General John A. Logan of the Grand Army of the Republic that called for a day to honor those who died, quote, "in defense of their country during the late rebellion," unquote. It was called Decoration Day because mourners honored the Civil War dead by decorating their graves with flowers. May 30th, 1922, former President William Taft dedicates the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C. May 31st, 1889 is the date of the Johnstown Flood. That's when a dam outside of Johnstown, Pennsylvania collapsed and sent 20 million tons of water roaring down into the valley towards Johnstown and several other towns. The deluge killed 2,209 people and became a legendary event in American history. America's weatherman, Al Roker, has just published a new book on the Johnstown flood. But of course, there's also the classic version by David McCullough. June 2nd, 1854, Anthony Burns was convicted in Boston of being a fugitive slave. He was then marched, under guard by federal soldiers, so much for states' rights, through the streets of Boston, past thousands of abolitionists and sympathizers, down to the Boston waterfront where a whaling ship took him back into slavery. This was one of those famous events that galvanized public opinion about slavery during the 1850s. Burns' freedom was eventually purchased by abolitionists. June 1st, 1980, a little operation called Cable News Network, what we know as CNN, was launched. And June 3rd, 1888, was when the famous baseball poem, Casey at the Bat, was first published by Ernest Lawrence Thayer. Okay, time for the last word. Well, it's warm out, baseball's in full swing, so let's give it to Casey at the Bat. It's too long to read the whole thing, so let's just go to the last couple of stanzas. Casey, the mighty slugger, has stepped up, his team is down by 2 runs, and he's rather cavalierly let 2 strikes go by. But now he's all business. All right, let's pick up the poem. The sneer is gone from Casey's lip. His teeth are clenched in hate. He pounds with cruel violence his bat upon the plate. And now the pitcher holds the ball, and now he lets it go, and now the air is shattered by the force of Casey's blow. Oh, somewhere in this favored land, the sun is shining bright. The band is playing somewhere, and somewhere hearts are light. And somewhere men are laughing, and somewhere children shout. But there is no joy in Mudville. Mighty Casey has struck out. Okay, people, that's your history fix for the week. Now put it in drive and go make your own history.